Dave, Big K.R.I.T dropped a new album. Krit is here. Uh, Interesting title name since it was his first mixtape was Krit is Coming. Is that correct? So
yeah. He's used his name a lot like that. Yeah, he likes to use it as an acronym. I never remembered what it stood for because he does have his name as an acronym, Krit. So, but yeah, he's we haven't actually talked about him on the pod, but he's been around a long time. Obviously, he dropped an album back 2017. We just missed it, but yeah, this was kind of unexpected for me. Krit is here, the fourth full length from him. Had you listened to him before?
just singles here and there. I'd heard him on some features. I'm aware of 1999, Energy, big some of like the bigger songs, but not really familiar with his like deeper tracks, so to speak. Well, he's been around since he kind of blew up in 2005, or at least hit the scene in 2005, because he did that song with Ludacris, right? I think it
Yeah.
was country shit.
Yep, exactly. And then I mean, he was a 2011 XXL freshman, same cover as like Mac Miller, YG, Kendrick. Like he was like a minted as a new star long ago. And but even before that, as you said, he kind of like existed in that like post Dirty South southern scene as a guy who's born and bred Mississippi and all about that country shit. He really owns his country identity throughout all his music. But it's kind of been a weird arc for him just because that debut album, Live from the Underground in 2012, that was his Def Jam debut. And that was pretty lukewarmly received given the hype he built through his mixtapes and his EPs and stuff. And after that, he kind of had a lot of issues with Def Jam. He released Catalactica, which I thought was all right. It was solid, but he just kind of like went away for a while. I mean, he opened up for Macklemore's first big tour. But other than that, wasn't really heard from that much. And it just felt like kind of like a missed opportunity given how deep and introspective he was for a Southern rapper, especially. But then 2017, post Def Jam split, Forever is a Mighty Long Time came out, and that was definitely Return to Form. Then he released a bunch of EPs last year, which we also didn't talk about. He put them on a TDT compilation right at the beginning of January this year, and he's back right again with Krit is here. And I've never been like the biggest fan. I always thought his music was a little dense at times, but he almost is kind of like a Southern Cole, you know? And I think the fact that they unite on this album for a song hopefully bring some Cole fans into the Krit orbit, just because I feel like it's a pretty close Venn diagram. So, I mean, what did you think diving in fully?
Yeah, I was surprised, and maybe this is singular for this album specifically, but I felt like there was a lot more singing, and it was a lot more, jazz vibey than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting something a little more bangerish, just so to speak. I thought there was a lot of really good stuff on here, but it was so long, like 59 minutes. And I kind of started to lose a bit of the attention by the end. Just kind of wanted it to wrap up. I did really like the J. Cole song "Prove It," and I also really liked "Krit is Here" or "Krit Here," the first song.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, nothing really like stood out. But I was like, oh, this is. I was getting down to it, just wasn't like popping out at me. How did you feel about the album though?
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. Like Forever is a Mighty Long Time. That's damn near 90 minutes. And like it's not like Migos 90 minutes, like it's right. Really dense 90 minutes. And like you said, he's gotten a little more soulful in his later years, and that's cool. I'm glad to hear him branching out. But even leaving that aside, I just find sometimes that his shit's just a little dense for me sometimes. And like I know he's got a lot of hardcore fans. I've never been a hardcore fan, so it's like I always feel like you kind of want to ask them what they think of him, because he's never really been a huge mainstream rap star or anything like that, despite being really well known. But the hardcores are the ones who I feel like have the most valuable opinion of Krit, just because they've been like riding with him since those tapes. And like you said on this, it's easy to kind of fade in and out through this track list. Not a lot of features. That's usually normal. That's normal for him. And frankly, I think some of the bigger energy songs are songs that we had already heard because they were on those EPs from last year, Energy and Learn from Texas specifically. And I like those songs. Those songs are good. And again, K.R.I.T, when he brings it, when he brings the energy, when he brings like a faster flow like that, it does stand out because he is clearly a very competent technical rapper. But I don't know, just maybe it's just his beat choices for me. I almost just kind of get lost in his record. That's why I've never really fell in love with any of them. But the talent's still obviously very present. And I mean, if you're talking like active Southern rappers after like Killer Mike, I mean, really don't know who else you really will want to put up there with Big K.R.I.T in terms of like bars and lyrics and just talent and all that, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't really think about him in that way. I feel like in a lot of senses, when he kind of burst onto the scene, he was someone that I think people talked about having a lot of potential and hasn't had that like one breakout album. Maybe I've kind of missed it, but I feel like he kind of gets forgotten. But it's interesting to hear you talk about him as being this very like established Southern rapper behind Killer Mike. It's I wonder, do you feel like it's that he hasn't had like the commercial success, but just like the quality and like the denseness has made it so that it's obvious that he's better than the commercial success would lead people to believe?
Yeah, I think that's kind of two sides of the same coin. You know, when he signs with Def Jam, everyone was really excited to have the extra exposure put on K.R.I.T and off that huge mixtape run. And like, this is great. He'll be huge. And kind of live scratching your head about why it didn't happen. And part of that was because Live from the Underground wasn't that great. It was very disappointing, at least. But you know, I really think Forever's a money long time. Like that got a lot of critical acclaim. But as you said, he's not a mainstream rap star, and I think partially it's that denseness. You know, he never found a way to have more crossover success the way someone like a T.I. did, or anything like that, or Ludacris, obviously. And I think he's better pure rapper than Ludacris, obviously, but it's Ludacris has better records, and you know, like I said, I think just K.R.I.T has those hardcore fans. There's a lot of those fans that will ride for him, and he kind of reminds me of like a non-mainstream Cole, as I said, a Southern non-popular Cole, you know. And it's an interesting career because now that he's independent of Def Jam and he's on what's it called, Multi Alumni LLC under BMG, some kind of independent.
It's his own label.
Yeah, it's his own label. There you go. He's not hurting or anything. So it's just interesting to see what direction he wants to take stuff, because you know the soulful stuff is newer. So he clearly is not interested in the success Def Jam probably promised him anyway. So I don't expect him to 360 anytime soon. But very interesting career from a lot of you know different angles.